Welcome to Talking Technology with NCBI Labs, where we believe that technology is the single greatest enabler for people with sight loss and all disabilities. If you are interested in the latest technology news, products, and innovations, then you've come to the right place.
Hello, and welcome to Talking Technology with NCBI Labs. It is episode 35. We're into July. It's the 11th of July already. Flying through the year. Can you believe it? We're well over halfway there now. It'll be Christmas before we know it. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Hope you're relaxing, enjoying your time off with the kids. Maybe you're on summer holidays. Maybe you're listening to us in sunny Spain or in France, or who knows? You could be listening to us anywhere in the world. That's the wonder of podcasts, isn't it? So you're very welcome in. Hello, welcome along. We have another packed show for you today. As always, you can get in touch with the show by sending an email to labs@ncbi.ie or using the Q&A panel in Microsoft Teams. But what are we going to be talking about, you might ask? Well, we'll be taking a look at the Apple TV. I'll be chatting to Joe about the Apple TV later on. That's a really cool little product, and one I only got my hands on recently, and one I've been really enjoying, I must say. And we will also be introducing you to a brand new member of the NCBI Labs team. Chris will be joining us later on in the show to tell us about his role, his background, and to tell us a little bit about himself. So, as I said, if you do want to get in touch with the show, do please send us an email to labs@ncbi.ie or use the Q&A panel in Microsoft Teams if you're joining us live. But first, let's get down to business. The Apple TV. Well, what is the Apple TV? The Apple TV confuses a lot of people because they think, well, did Apple make a television or what? But they didn't. The Apple TV is a box that you plug into your into your TV, I should say, and it gives your TV all sorts of cool new features. It's a streaming box, and to tell us all about it, well, we've brought in Joe Lonigan. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Hi, David. I'm good, thanks.
So, Joe, the Apple TV, this one confuses a lot of people because I think sometimes people can mix it up. Like, is this a big, expensive telly that goes on your wall? Or, like, first of all, what is the Apple TV even?
Well, it's a digital streaming set-top box, basically, David, made by Apple. So it's a little box of probably 3 inches wide, 3 by 3, and maybe 1.5 inches high, and it plugs into your TV via a HDMI cable, and obviously you have to plug it into the wall as well to give it power. So if you have any Apple devices, you can set this up, and you can use it to stream content to your TV, or you can stream content from your phone to the TV. There's other features that we'll talk about as well in a few minutes.
Absolutely. And the big thing with the Apple TV that I think is massive really is it has voiceover, which is a really important thing to note as well. But Joe, let's start at the beginning. So the Apple TV, the setup, you take it out of the box, you plug it into the television, the traditional telly. What happens next? What are you faced with?
Yeah, well, you plug it into the TV, and you plug in your HDMI cable, and then, like any other Apple device, it is simple enough to set up. You go through the process of holding your phone close to the device, and then it will ask you to put in your Apple ID and password so that you can link and begin setup. Sometimes you might just have to use your Touch ID or Face ID to start this setup, but they'll recognize each other once they're close together, like any of Apple devices do, like the watch and AirTags, etc. You know, so it talks you through the setup really. You know, the next finish kind of a thing. It will ask you to put parental controls on, who the main user is, that kind of thing. So once you're set up, then you can start downloading apps onto the device, like your streaming apps such as Disney Plus or Apple TV Plus is already on it by default, or Netflix. RT Player, Virgin Media Player, that kind of thing. even TG4 if you're into Irish language. So they're the kind of apps that you can download onto
Absolutely.
it. Many different streaming apps. Like there is loads and loads more. I'm just going through the ones that I personally use, but there's lots out there.
Yeah, 100%. And Joe, do you need to then, I guess, for linking accounts, you want to link your Disney Plus, your Amazon Prime account, your, whatever you have for whatever streaming service you use. How does that work? And how do you, do you have to enter passwords on the telly? How does that all work?
Yeah, well, the Apple TV app itself is fine because you use your Apple ID and password. So that one works seamlessly, because it's made by Apple. So you don't have to do any linking or anything with that one. It's already linked up. But the Disney Plus will say, for example, when I link it, I could put in my email and password, but it's very finicky trying to go through a keyboard on the screen with a D-pad. So there's an option to put in a QR code. So a QR code, you can link it with a QR code from your phone, from the Disney Plus app. I need a little bit of help with this now, David, to be honest with you, trying to get the picture of the QR code into my phone and stuff. I think if I'd fiddled around long enough, I might have got that one. But I eventually got that in, so I had to link that was probably the more difficult part, was linking some of the streaming apps. But I got there eventually, and as I said, maybe with a bit of help with 2 phones and BMIs or something, I might have done it on my own. But I had some sort of help there at the time to set up some of the apps. I probably would have got the hang of getting the keyboard and going through the keyboard as well with the D-pad and selecting each letter, but I thought it was so cumbersome that I didn't do it that way. I just took the easy option and got a little bit of help. But yeah, the QR codes, they're manageable, but they're difficult to get into the picture, of course.
Sure.
But we got there in the end.
There's different setups, it depends on the app, it seems sometimes. Like for GEA Go, which we have at home, and the RTE player, to link those accounts, you enter a code on the respective service provider's website, and that then links your TV for you and stuff. So there are some different experiences, like Amazon Prime is similar to what you were describing with the QR code, Joe, and there are some different ones out there. But you mentioned there that going around the keyboard with a D-pad, and that brings us on then to the remote. So there's a D-pad on the remote, but do you want to tell us a little bit more about this remote? It's called the Siri remote.
Yeah, the Siri remote, it feels lovely in the hand. It's probably 1.5 inches wide and 4 inches or 4.5 inches tall. It's made from some sort of aluminium. It's kind of a metal material, and it's nice and light. And it's a rechargeable remote, so you can charge it with a USB-C cable. If you don't have one, you'll probably need to purchase one. In fairness, the battery does last forever, like it lasts for a couple of months or something. So you don't have to charge that. You don't have to charge it that often. So the buttons on the remote, on the right hand side, the most important button, or the most used button in my house, is the Siri remote button. So that's on the very side, so it's really easy to find. So you hold that in and you say things like, you can play. Say if you're into kids, play Peppa Pig on Disney Plus, or play the Banshees of Inisherin on Disney Plus, or something like that. So Siri works with Disney Plus, or you could say play Hijack on Apple TV Plus. That kind of things. They're the kind of things you can ask it. Also, Siri works with YouTube as well, but It doesn't actually work with Netflix. It'll only open. There's certain apps it won't work and play stuff with, but it'll open the apps. So Siri remote. The one thing about the Siri remote is the Siri voice isn't actually on the Apple TV box itself. Not that I found anyway. So you can arrow around and see what it says with the voiceover. Once the voiceover is turned on, you can still arrow around and see, are you in the right location? But it usually does bring you to the right place once you pronounce your words properly and give it a correct voice command.
Yeah, it is fairly decent like that, to be fair. And you're right, though. I don't think it does really talk on the Apple TV. I certainly haven't got mine talking outside of VoiceOver, obviously. In fairness, VoiceOver is as good as it is on any other platform and does read pretty much everything, which
very
is
good. Now, in fairness, Yeah,
Yeah.
it is very good.
Especially on a like, I'd never experienced a really good screen reader on a television before, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Joe, what kind of apps are there for the Apple TV?
Apps.
So
Well, there's a lot of apps, I suppose. Mostly they're based on stream. It's based on having streaming apps on your Apple TV
yeah,
box. So it's an Apple TV 4K Wi-Fi version. I have the 128 gig box. So it will, I suppose, hold a lot of apps. There'll be a lot of memory on it. What other apps is on it? Let me see. Well, there's games. You can get games on it, but I suppose most of them are not accessible for a blind person. But if you have kids in the family, it's handy to have some of the games on it. Also, when I go through some of the apps, what I have of Netflix, Disney Plus, RT Player, TG4, Virgin Media Player, Apple TV Plus. There's 4 on demand, so that's Channel 4. If some of the BBC stuff doesn't play, so I didn't bother with that one. So they're the kind of apps that I use a lot. Also, you have the podcasts on it and the Photos app.
let's talk about
and the App
photos.
Store. The App Store has its own App Store as well, of course.
Absolutely. Let's talk about photos there for a second, because this is something that might be of interest to people in particular, maybe who have low vision. The Photos app on Apple TV gives you the ability to effectively display a photo from your phone on the big screen, so you can make that image huge, Joe.
Yeah, so you can use it as a digital picture frame, basically. Like, there is an option to go into settings and decide what you want as your screensaver. So when mine goes into sleep mode, it will display my photo stream, and it doesn't display sensitive photos. It only displays usually photos with people in them or normal pictures. You know what I mean? So from your normal photo stream, you could set it just to show your favorites or something like that if you wanted to. But I find it great now, and it's especially entertaining if you have people calling over or just friends in, and there wasn't anything happening at the time. They could just glance over at the TV and look at your photos, and it's a conversation starter. Like my father-in-law was around, and he said, "Oh, that's great. You have all the pictures of the kids up on the TV. How did you get that working? You know, that kind of thing." So it was quite good now.
Does he want an Apple TV for Christmas now, Joe?
Probably does. I'm saying nothing. Yeah. So they're in really good quality, because you know yourself, the camera on the iPhone is very good. So the pictures are up on a 55-inch TV, and they come up in great quality.
Absolutely.
So I think it's great.
And it's not just picture quality, because you can also get the sound quality, because this works very well with the HomePods, Joe. And you have a HomePod Mini, I think, linked to your one.
Yeah, you know yourself, a lot of TVs are very thin, I suppose. You know, so
yeah, they're tinny.
The speakers wouldn't be hectic on a lot of them. Even you might have paid a lot of money, and the speakers still aren't mega like. So, I know there's a big industry out there selling sound bars, but a lot of people are using the HomePod Minis as a pair and creating a stereo pair from their Apple TV. And if you plug in the 2 HomePod Minis, there's an option to go into sound, into settings, then sound, and you can pick sound output, and you can just select on the HomePod Mini, as simple as that, and it'll transfer the sound over to your HomePod Mini, and you can watch your movies by using the HomePod Mini speakers. And the sound is amazing, really. As you know yourself, from the HomePod Mini, it's probably one of the best sounding smart speakers. So that's where that one wins out. I find it really good now to have the sound coming through the HomePod Mini.
It is interesting, isn't it, that it links in well with, you know, all these products in the Apple ecosystem, like, you know, the HomePod, but also AirPods. You can control it from your phone, from the iPhone. It can do a lot when you have multiple Apple products and start almost stacking up that Apple ecosystem, really, can't it?
Yeah, so if you have AirPods in at the time, a little pop-up will come up on the screen asking you, do you want to use your AirPods? So it can be handy if you wanted to watch the TV, and but you didn't want it blaring. Maybe it's late in the evening, or somebody else could be listening to a radio or something. You can transfer the sound easily from the Apple TV to your AirPods, and the sound is, again, spatial audio, so it's really good. If you move around the room, the sound is directed in the direction of the way you're looking, kind of a thing. So, the sound is amazing on the AirPods as well.
And then I guess, what's the future like for Apple TV, Joe? Because this device is incredibly capable, but like any smart device, it's always getting updates. And we recently heard, some of the new stuff that's coming for WWDC. They announced some of the new features that are coming to tvOS in September. But what can we expect, Joe?
The one feature that stood out to me was, I didn't really take too much note of the others, but the one feature that really stood out to me was the fact that you can get FaceTime now on your Apple TV. So you can say FaceTime mom or FaceTime your grandchild or whatever. So you could have relations in Australia or up the road, doesn't matter where they are, but you can see them big on your TV. And then you can use that is cool. And you can use the microphone from your phone. So you'll have a good microphone, and you'll be able to see everybody on the big screen TV. So that'll be a big bonus for anybody with low vision. And also it'll give you a better sound, and it'll just be an all-around better experience, I think. Being able to
makes it a more communal experience. Like it brings the whole family in, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It brings the whole family in. And there is a rumour of other streaming apps, other video apps going to use the same style, but hasn't been confirmed yet. So that will connect in. So I think the future is bright for the Apple TV.
Yeah, absolutely. I must say, I got it really recently, like only a month or so ago, because you had been recommending it and stuff like that. And it really is a fantastic little product. And in my humble opinion, right, and I know, money is subjective, but what I'm saying here is, relative to other Apple products, it's not the most expensive compared to the rest of them. Like, the crazy thing to me is, like, the Apple TV is less expensive than the AirPods,
That is kind of, I suppose, when you look at it that way, it is unusual that it's less expensive than the AirPods. I think my model was something like 189, then the cheaper model is 159.
Yeah, same was with mine. I think mine was 189. So yeah, a really good product though, and one I've really been enjoying.
You get a lot for your buck, I think, considering you can put so many different apps on the device. And Apple TV Plus, of course, comes with almost total audio description. Sarah, the accessibility officer, she did say that their aim is to have 100% accessibility audio description on all their content that goes through Apple TV Plus. So that's another bonus, and it is one of the cheaper streaming platforms. Like, I think $6.99 at the moment.
Yeah.
Compared to most of the others are €10. Maybe they need to catch up with content, but they're not too far behind.
Yeah, and the quality is really good on their shows as well. Like Daniel, who is in the wings there, recommended Hijack the other day on Apple TV, and I started watching it on the weekend there, and I think I'm hooked, Joe. It's a really good show.
Yeah, it is fun. There's not a new episode out just tonight, I think. So yeah, there is some great content on it.
Tomorrow night, Wednesday night.
Oh, it's tomorrow night, is it? Yeah, tomorrow night. Yeah. So
Daniel's eagerly waiting there.
Yeah. He's counting down the hours.
I love it.
Yeah. So
I have to say, the TV app, right? Sorry for cutting across there, Joe, but the Apple TV app, for $6.99 a month. I know. Look, at this stage, everyone's kind of getting wondering about all these streaming apps. You have Netflix, you have Disney, you have Paramount Plus, you have Amazon Prime. Again, the time you add them all up, it amounts to a nice amount every month in subscription fees. But for $6.99, I think what you're getting from Apple TV is quite good value. And plus, like, the app can travel with you on your iPad. It can travel with you on your iPhone as well. So anyone who's kind of in the Apple ecosystem, you know, it's a fantastic service. And also to add that on the Apple TV Plus app, you know, you're getting a savage amount of programming that's audio described. I was just looking up there, like I think there's 182 titles between shows and movies that are audio described. So like it is excellent for, you know, for watching back shows or listening to movies or whatever. And like they're constantly adding titles to it as well. They roughly come on with about 4 or 5 more every month, so it is gradually getting bigger and bigger and bigger too.
Yeah, and
it
that having
is.
that audio description's a big one. Like I've never come across something that doesn't have audio description on Apple TV, and there's something really liberating about that. You know, like it's hit or miss when, you know, you go on, you know, and this isn't a criticism of these services, but when you go on Amazon Prime or you go on Netflix, it's hit or miss sometimes. But Apple TV, it seems to be consistently there, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Yeah, and just to remember to switch it on. It's kind of a global setting for your phone, tablet, or Apple TV that you switch it on in the settings, and then it'll just automatically be there for, you know, for when you're listening back to your show or your movie.
So it comes on automatic then, doesn't it? And most apps. We were having a chat earlier on about RTE Player. Sometimes it's better to register, isn't it, for RTE Player? Because and then you have you can switch on your audio description, and
it is,
it'll come on
you can
automatic.
set it as a default then. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's set as default as well, so you can do that. Actually, interestingly, only about 2 weeks ago, I was doing that for a service user. I know to listen back to this show, so that's a little reference to a job we done there. Yeah, and it worked. It worked perfectly, and also exiting the app, come back in, playing a show that we knew had audio description and RTE Player, and yes, it was there automatically.
Brilliant.
And the other bit
managed separately, I suppose. I know this was on an Android device, so.
Joe, if I can ask you just before we finish up on the Apple TV, is there anything you'd like to see improved on the Apple TV, and overall, would you recommend it?
Overall, I would recommend it. Yeah, sometimes look, the voiceover is a little bit choppy. You could press right or left arrow. You might have to press it a couple of times to get to the next spot. I think that's more to do with the apps rather than the actual voiceover itself. Maybe it's to do with the apps keeping up with the accessibility of voiceover, if you know what I mean. But in general, I think it's a really good reading experience. The touch-sensitive D-pad, so it mightn't suit some people, but you can turn that off, the touch-sensitive part of it, and just keep it as a click-sensitive D-pad instead. One thing we didn't really mention much about was AirPlay. So AirPlay is another good option. You can AirPlay any piece of media from your phone to the device, which is quite good. And if you have the smart speaker as well, you can work with Siri hands-free. So that was another thing I'd like to mention. So yeah, I think I'd give it a good 9 out of 10, I think.
That's high praise.
Yeah, but probably knock a mark off for Netflix not being accessible as regards with Siri, because it is one of the most popular streaming apps, in fairness. And if you do want to find something, you may have to do a lot of arrowing around before you find it. You know what I mean? You can't just play it straight off with a voice command. Whereas in we'll say the Google TV, you can. So it ranks up there alongside the best streaming devices, and anyone that's an Apple user, it's a win-win.
Yeah, and you also, just to mention as well, you get 3 months free. So they're trying a complimentary 3 months free of Apple TV Plus, which is the streaming app that we were kind of talking about there a few moments ago. And actually, they rolled that out with across other Apple pieces. So for somebody who's maybe subscribed to the app and maybe they upgrade their phone or upgrade their iPad, or they're getting one of these Apple TVs, just watch out for that notification that you get. You got a bonus up to some devices and things that you buy will actually give you a year on it. Depends on the device you're buying from Apple, but they do throw that in as a little sweetener as well, so keep an eye out.
Absolutely.
Good point. Thanks, Anne.
Yeah, a really cool product. And Joe and Daniel, thank you so much for telling us about it. It's one of these ones that I'm really glad that I hopped into the ecosystem, and it's one of these really nice products. There's something really just fun almost about using voiceover and stuff on the Apple TV, and just being able to go into the settings and stuff like that on your own and adjust what you want to adjust without having to, find sighted assistants and stuff. There's something really liberating about that, and it's really cool. And when you have a great streaming device on top, well, as Joe said, it's a win-win. So thank you, Joe, for telling us about that. We do have loads more still to come on Talking Technology today, including Talking Technology news and quick picks coming up later on in the show. But now it's time to introduce you to someone new, a voice that you probably haven't heard yet, but who knows, you might be dealing with him along the way on your NCBI Labs journey. So I'd like to welcome for the very first time, and almost certainly not the last, to the podcast, Mr. Chris Steward. How are you, Chris?
Hi, David. Yeah, good, thank you. How about yourself?
Very good, thank you. So, Chris, firstly, is that a Liverpool accent I hear?
I'm afraid so. This is actually my posh voice. So yeah, changes when it needs to. But when I'm back in Liverpool, it's definitely a lot thicker.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Chris, I guess first of all, would you like to introduce yourself? Let the audience know a little bit about you.
Yeah, of course. So I've been in this position now for, I think this is my 5th week. Can't believe how fast it's gone, to be honest. I feel like I've been here for a lot longer. I am the tech trainer, and I'll be based in the Northeast. So I'll be covering Louth, Monaghan, Meath, Cavan, and also Dublin as well. So I'm getting to know Ireland just as much as I'm getting to know technology.
Oh, there you go. And is this your first time working with people with vision impairments and assistive technology and stuff? Is this a new world to you then?
It is, David. Yeah. It's a little bit scary, I'll be honest. I'm delving into a brand new world for myself, but it's one that I'm finding it's exciting, to be honest with you. I didn't really know what was out there, but obviously with research, a lot of YouTube videos, listening to you guys, listening to the podcast, speaking to my colleagues, I'm slowly getting to grips with things.
What was the biggest surprise for you in that regard when you started? Like, had you considered before starting an NCBI, like, the little things, like how do visually impaired people use computers and stuff? Was that something you'd ever considered? And what surprised you when you found out the reality, or was it fairly as you expected?
Well, in my career, I've worked with children in schools and a few who had visual impairments and things like that. So I've delved into it a little bit. I've dipped my toe into it, but mainly from an outside point of view, and just kind of just looked over people's shoulders and listened to people as they've gone along. I suppose the biggest surprise was just how much is out there. I'll be completely honest in terms of the technology. Also a little bit surprised in myself and how narrow-minded I am in terms of the apps that I use or the technology that I use. I just keep it very simple and I take things for granted, really. But this job in the last 5 weeks has definitely opened a whole new world for me, one that I'm trying to get to grips with, but we'll slowly get there without doubt.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to throw a few rapid fire tech questions at you just to get to know you, be a bit of fun. First of all, a controversial one. Are you an iOS or an Android man?
iOS for me.
Hey, good man. Fair play. Any reasons why in particular?
No, I'll be dead honest. It's just something that I've had since a long time ago, and I've just stuck with it. It's just an easier option for me, to be honest.
Fair enough. Windows or Mac?
Mac.
Oh, that I didn't know, and that surprises me. You're a Mac guy.
Well, I used to work in China for a few years, and as part of the job I had, I was given Macs, and that was with that's the software and things we used. So, yep, by default, I suppose I just got used to it.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. What streaming services do you like?
Standard, to be honest with you, just the usual ones. I actually just listening to the podcast there, obviously, and Hijack's huge on my list as well, by the way, in terms of streaming TV shows.
You're watching it as well, are you?
100%, yeah. I'm gripped already.
Oh, it's brilliant. Bring
it's
on
class.
tomorrow night.
Yeah, I know what we'll all be doing tomorrow night. But just the usual ones, Netflix. I do the streaming. I love sports and stuff like that. So obviously anything involved in football is huge for me. And boxing as well. So there's an app I stream called The Zone, which just allows me to access boxing and stuff like that as well.
Just to note for people who might be searching the App Store for that, it's DAZN, just so people know 100%. As well.
Yep.
And I guess then, what kinds of technology get you excited? Like, are you, is it virtual reality, artificial intelligence? Is there any like specific area of technology that really just gets you excited? Like,
I'll be completely honest. To begin with, no. My life was just a simple message of using Twitter and Instagram, standard social media. But then I suppose as technology is evolving, AI is huge for me at the moment. I'm doing a lot of digging into it, a lot of research. It's very exciting. So yeah, I'm just trying to work out how I can bring that into my role as a tech trainer, and how I can use it for the benefit of all our service users.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. Just playing around with things, like your ChatGPT and stuff. We interviewed ChatGPT on the podcast going back a while ago, and it was an amazing experience to see what it can do.
Yeah, listen, it's fantastic. We need to try and enhance especially with myself, enhance my skills using it. And that's just going to come, as you said, David, playing around with it and having a little go here and there. But no, it's definitely exciting. It's definitely something I want to bring forward. Absolutely.
So do you want to tell us a little bit just about what kind of stuff, you've been doing with NCBI? And I know you're just in the door, but you've jumped in at the deep end in many respects. Do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you've been delving into in the first few weeks in the job?
Yeah, of course. So the first week I was very grateful. I was kind of left alone, just to watch YouTube videos, just to get my feet on the floor and work out how things go. But most recently, I've been meeting obviously with service users on a one-to-one basis. At the moment, mainly with smartphones. So mainly using Siri, how we can benefit that to make phone calls and send text messages, this type of stuff. So that's been really interesting for myself. I did a home visit for the very first time last week again, which is another little stepping stone. But yeah, as you said, I've been thrown in the deep end the last few weeks. Time's flown, which is good, and I'm learning every single day.
Very good. And are you enjoying it is the most important thing?
Absolutely love it. I know you were expecting an answer to say, yeah, of course, I'm happy, but that's a genuine answer. Yeah, no issues at all. As I say, I'm learning every day. And if I can bring a little bit of enthusiasm, I'm hoping the service users I work with can buy into a little bit of training, and as we go along, help each other.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much. You are very welcome to the team. Do stick around because you'll be doing the quick picks for us later on. So thank you so much. JP is on his holidays this week. So we really did throw you into the deep end, but you were absolutely up for the task. And Chris, thank you so much for joining us for the first time, but not the last time on Talking Technology.
Hopefully not. Thank you, David.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. So we will have Chris back later on to tell us a little bit about the quick picks that might be of benefit to you. We'll be doing that later on. But before we do that, it's time to head over to Daniel now. Once again, well, it's time for Talking Technology News, isn't it?
This is Talking Technology News.
And thanks very much, David, there. So your latest Talking Technology News, I'm Daniel Dunn with the NCBI Labs. So first up today, Vodafone have become the first mobile service provider in Ireland to allow customers to share an eSIM to their smartwatches. Vodafone One Number, which is the title given to the service, allows people to take and make calls or use mobile phone services from their watch without the need for a connection to the phone. So you may have already heard or start to hear ads on TV and radio in the recent days, but there's one big catch to be aware of. while it's fantastic not to need your phone all the time, Vodafone One Number doesn't currently support the Apple Watch. Instead, the feature is only available on the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 and upwards. It's a great move, I suppose, for sure, and hopefully we'll see more providers supporting more devices in the future. Second up today, Meta, who own Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and a few more bits as well, have launched a competitor to Twitter. The new app is called Threads and lets people see post short text snippets. So as we all know, Twitter has seen an increase in competition, being bought over by Elon Musk. But Threads is perhaps the biggest challenger so far to come from an established player in the social media space. Unfortunately, Threads hasn't launched inside the EU yet, so we haven't got to try out its accessibility. But it will be interesting to see if the app does give Twitter a run for its money. In other news, the race to get soundscape replacements out the door continues, with Voice Vista becoming the first to hit the App Store. Voice Vista has a slightly different interface to the old Soundscape app, and notably doesn't have some features like search. But if you want a simple tool to tell you what's around you, Voice Vista might just do the job. NCBI's Possibility Lab and the Open Space team are understood to be still working on the new versions of Soundscape, so hopefully we'll have news to share from them soon. And finally, it's Amazon Prime Day. Well, 2 days really. If you're holding out on buying stuff on Amazon, now might be the time to take a look, as tons of products have seen major reductions. Amazon's own products such as Alexa, Ring doorbells seem to have seen the largest price drops, but there are price deals on all other sorts of products too. It's a great time for some deals, so why not have a look and see if anything that you need went down in price. Prime Day is actually continuing for 2 days, obviously today the 11th and tomorrow the 12th of July, so be sure to have a look and see what's on sale. And that's all for now, but for more tech content, you can always check out the NCBI Labs newsletter. You can sign up via your My NCBI account on the NCBI website. With that, it's back to you, David.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, it's really cool to see that Voice Vista app hitting the App Store, and great to see that there is some competition there, not only from our own Possibility Lab, but OpenScape too. It's great to see just some competition in that space. It's fun. And yeah, absolutely. Remember,
exciting times ahead.
Exciting times ahead for sure. A reminder, though, that those apps are just aids and will not replace your cane skills and so on. So just be aware, use them as tools, not as replacements. It's important to do that too. Amazon Prime Day, Daniel, did you go shopping this morning?
Not yet. Looking out for something specific. It's actually a part for my lawnmower, and I noticed with the recent rain that the grass has gone a little bit high, so I'm in a hurry now to get a replacement cable so I can use my lawnmower again. So I'll have a little bit of a search tonight on Amazon and see can I get a deal on that.
Very good. Yeah, I went shopping just for a few smart home bits this morning, but I'm not able to bankrupt myself this year because there's a moratorium in the house on me getting new smart home products. They're kind of sick of me getting some new smart home stuff, so I have to be careful. I have to watch my back.
Are the Ring doorbells reduced by much? Actually, I didn't even get a chance to look properly.
Yeah, the Ring doorbells are reduced quite nicely, actually. And what they're seeming to do is they're including extras with the packages. So, for example, with the Ring doorbells, you can get the new Echo Pop. I love saying Echo Pop. You can get the new Echo Pop with the Ring Video Doorbell, for example, or you can just get the Ring Video Doorbells reduced and stuff like that. Same with different things like your Alexas, Fire tablets, Kindles, Fire TV sticks, Eero mesh Wi-Fi systems, all those kind of bits and pieces from Amazon. They're all reduced. And I even got a reduction on a razor, Daniel.
Brilliant.
So absolutely, there you go.
Brilliant.
You know, it's all those different kind of things are reduced. Not everything is reduced, and of course, I mean, you do need a Prime subscription. But there is a free trial of Prime if you don't already have it. I haven't paid for Prime, but I'm taking all the discounts.
Brilliant. So that sounds like an evening now to occupy myself just before the next episode of Hijack comes back on Apple TV Plus.
There you go. That's the idea.
The week is filling up.
The week is filling up fast. Daniel, thank you so much for that. And tell us what you got in the Amazon Prime Day sales, by the way, as well. You can always email labs@ncbi.ie. And if you do need support, perhaps with some of those products, maybe you've been inspired to get an Apple TV and need a hand with setup, or maybe you found something on Amazon in the Prime Day sale and you just want a hand. That's totally fine. That's why we're here. Send an email to labs@ncbi.ie and we'll be more than happy to help. Now, let's find out about a few more bits that might be benefiting you over the next little while. And this week, well, we're focusing on apps. It's time for Quick Picks.
It's time for NCBI Labs Quick Picks.
Chris, how are you? Welcome back. You didn't go far.
No, I'm still here.
You're still here. Chris, quick picks this week. Obviously, JP is on his holidays, hopefully enjoying the sunshine and listening to us, I'm sure. But quick picks, we're starting this week with Clue. Firstly, do you want to tell us a little bit about Clue? What is it? We covered this in the newsletter last week, but what is Clue?
Okay, so Clue is a free app, which is always good, always useful, that can help those with low or no vision navigate indoor environments.
Okay, awesome. So really, I guess how Clue works is you go through an environment first, usually with a sighted guide. So you go through a route and then Clue remembers that route and can repeat it back. So I was actually out, funny enough, in a hospital recently, and I had to cross from one side of the hospital to the other. And thankfully, I was lucky enough to have a porter, spot me and guide me to where I needed to go. But good luck if I ever needed to repeat that. But if I had Clue, it will be able to memorize the route and I'd be able to get Clue to repeat it, which is really cool. And it goes back to that point that you were saying earlier, Chris, about the vast amount of technology that's out there, and it's additional tools for the toolbox, isn't it?
100%. Yeah. And I think it's about trying these apps to see what suits yourselves, see what suits your needs as well. But no, it's huge what's out there. It really is. It's nice to have choice.
Absolutely. There are other kind of equivalents to Clue. Like there's a little bit in Seeing AI on the World Channel. And like you say, it's just a question of try it, find out what works for you. Every service user might have different needs or might have different tastes, and that's totally fine. So give it a go. It's a free app and you can get it on the App Store. And Chris, we've another app as well. This one isn't free, but it's a really cool one at the same time. What is our second app for today?
Yep, so it's Streamlets, which is an app for the Apple Watch, that lets you play radio stations on the speaker from your watch. And as you said, David, this one's not free.
Yeah, an interesting one. Joe, I think, has used this before. Joe, yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this app? What makes it different to any other app, like, your TuneIn or whatever that's available on the watch?
Yeah, well, the frustrating thing about the watch for a lot of people is you can't play your audio books through the speaker or other streaming apps or TuneIn or whatever. But this Streamlets app has found a way of doing it, and that's their biggest selling point. You can play any radio station you want by going into search for BBC 5 Live or whatever, if you're into sport or something. Click play and the sound will come out through the speaker of the watch. And as you know, the speaker on most of the Apple Watches is quite good. And it's quite handy, maybe if you wanted to be on your phone, but you also wanted the radio in the background on your watch. It's kind of cool to have that option. So it wouldn't be really for listening to music now or anything, you know what I mean? It'd be more for listening to kind of talk radio and stuff like that. But it is a cool app. I like it. And you can save radio stations to your favorites as well. So I would only have, I suppose, 2 or 3 favorite radio stations and just throw them in there into favorites. And if I was just doing something around the house or something, I could open the Streamlets app with Siri and go into favorites, double tap on one of the radio stations and it plays through the speaker. It's quite good. And you can turn it up and down with the digital crown as well, which is handy.
And does it have many of the Irish stations, Joe?
Oh yeah, of course. It's online streaming, so you can type in any radio station, you know, KCLR, Tip FM, Radio Kerry, whatever you want, you know, it'll find all those radio stations and play them like it does on your smart speaker or your tuning radio app or whatever other way you get your online radio stations. So yeah, as far as I can see, most of the radio stations are available.
Brilliant.
RT Radio 1 as well, actually, David. Yeah, they're all available there.
All there. Brilliant. Joe, thank you so much. And Chris, thank you so much for telling us about those 2 apps. Really cool ones. And like you say, it's good to try these out, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, no, they seem very interesting, and I'll be doing a little research on them a little bit further on as well.
Yeah, you'll be mapping out head office there in the Clue app.
Yeah, just where the kitchen is, so make a cup of tea. That's the priority.
That's exactly. You're so new in the place, you might find it beneficial to use it yourself, even though, yeah, who knows?
You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Memorize those routes. Well, listen, that is it. Can you believe it already? That is it for this edition of Talking Technology. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Thanks to Chris, Daniel, and Joe for all their support on the show this week. And Sean as well, I must say, who gave us a massive amount of help behind the scenes as well. So thank you, Sean, as well for that. We are going to be back, as always, in 2 weeks' time, and we hope to see you then. And listen, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. And we have to head off now and wait eagerly for Hijack to come back on Apple TV Plus. But thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. And yeah, have a good afternoon, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to the Talking Technology podcast with NCBI Labs. If you would like to support our show, you can visit donate.ncbi.ie. The NCBI Labs Talking Technology podcast is proudly sponsored by IA Labs, the market leader in the provision of digital accessibility services.